Hey guys, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to show you how to detail your engine bay the easy way using minimal water with equipment you can get all at Walmart, and we're going to be doing this on a hybrid engine bay so you can see how easy and safe this method actually is. So here we have the four main components we're going to be using for this job. All of these are readily available at Walmart, and I am going to be linking them in the description box down below. We are going to be taking a page from the Detail Geek book and use a steamer to do the majority of the heavy lifting for us. This is ideal for a job like cleaning your engine bay because one, it's actually going to minimize the amount of water you're needing to use, and two, use heat to cut through all the caked on dirt and grime, making the job a ton easier. It does also come with a handful of nozzles. It has this nice little extension, and this is the main nozzle that I find myself using more consistently. This steamer is from Bissell. I have used the Bissell little green machine to do my carpet, and that came out amazing, so definitely happy to stay on the Bissell train. And while you're at Walmart, go ahead and pick yourself up a set of microfiber towels. Now this pack of 30 runs for about $10, which is an insane deal, but you can also get a pack of 100 for about $20. Now of course they're not going to be the highest quality, being just normal Walmart microfiber towels, but you don't really need them to be the highest quality. All you need them to do is be microfiber, which they are. Next up, we're going to get this set of detail brushes for the crevices and little cracks, areas that are a little bit harder to reach with your hands, plus it'll also agitate the cleaner, which is going to be the next part. So this is some Mr. Clean all-purpose cleaner. We're going to dilute this in a ratio of 10 to 1 in a spray bottle, 10 being the water, 1 being this cleaner. And you might be asking, why use something like all-purpose cleaner for an automotive application like cleaning an engine bay? Well, it is very specifically all-purpose cleaner, and as you can see right here, it says cuts, grease. My engine bay is very much full of grease and grime, so that's very ideal for the scenario. But with that, as you can see right here, it is also water-based, and it even says usually no need to rinse, which means this is going to be very, very forgiving for the engine bay because we are going to be diluting it a good bit. If you find the all-purpose cleaner and the steamer combination isn't doing enough for your engine bay, you can go ahead and opt out of the all-purpose cleaner and get yourself some degreaser. But I do definitely find that most scenarios, the all-purpose cleaner and the steamer combination is going to be plenty. So the first thing to do is disconnect or remove the battery. As you can see in this engine bay, the battery is nowhere to be found, and that's actually because the battery for this vehicle is located in the trunk. So all we need to do is disconnect it. However, if you have your battery here in the engine bay, definitely helps to remove it, minimize any concern of causing a short. In a situation like this, all you need to do is undo the nut securing the wire to the terminal. Once you actually have the nut removed, you can disconnect the wire and move it out of the way. Now to start off with the cleaning, we're going to be using a vacuum to get the larger contaminants and pieces of debris out of the engine bay. You can actually go the opposite and use a leaf blower, but being in an enclosed area, vacuum is definitely the way to go. We have a few small rocks just kind of piled up, even some leaves hanging around. We basically want to get those out of the engine bay so we're not just washing them around as we are cleaning the engine bay. Now this portion is pretty self-explanatory. You're not going for perfection or anything. All you're really trying to do is get all the larger particles out of your engine bay. I do have a lot of trees at my house, so if my car is not parked in the garage specifically, you're gonna find leaves, acorns, little twigs, basically everything is gonna be in this engine bay. Like right here, I managed to pull out a full leaf. Same thing here in the cowl. Now before getting to the engine bay, you wanna look underneath the hood and see if you wanna do this area as well, because if you do, it's definitely better to start with it so it's not dripping on a freshly cleaned engine bay. Better to go top to bottom. Now usually it's not too dirty just because it has gravity helping it out, so it doesn't really get caked on in this area. But to be thorough, we are going to knock it out. So to start off, we're going to be spraying our all-purpose cleaner solution underneath the hood as well as on the hood insulation. Now the hood insulation has a lot of crevices, so we're trying to get it relatively even on here. But once you've wrapped up with the solution, you can start using the steamer. And you'll quickly see how easily the steamer cuts through all the dirt and grime. Now if you've never used one of these before, starting under the hood is a pretty good way to get a good feel for it. You're just trying to let the steam gloss over the surface. And once you've finished, you can start wiping the area down, and you can very clearly see that line between what is clean and what is dirty. And you can also see a nice reflection on the underside of the hood. Hopefully this gives you some perspective on how little elbow grease is going to be used for this job. The majority of the work is going to be done by the steamer. You're just wiping the area down after the steamer's done its pass. Just want to take a quick second to tell you guys about my partner for this video, Mint Mobile. You might know Mint as the one mobile network owned by Ryan Reynolds, and it's amazing. But what you might not know is that you can actually join the nation's largest 5G mobile network for as little as $15 a month. Switching is super easy. It only takes about 15 minutes, and the beauty of it is they sell directly to you online, which means you can switch from the comfort of your own home, your garage, or without even getting out of bed. Now, they activate your phone with a digital SIM card called eSIM. However, if your phone isn't compatible with eSIM for whatever reason, they'll send you a physical SIM card free of charge. My absolute favorite thing that they do is that every single plan they offer comes with unlimited talk and text, lightning fast 5G, and free mobile hotspot. And say it's just you and one other person, you can actually start a family plan with as little as 2 lines. If you're interested in reliable coverage and fast data for a fraction of the cost, go to trymintmobile.com/Dito to get started. I'm also going to be linking them in the description box down below. I want to give a big shout out to Mint, and now back to the video. Now, shifting focus to the hood insulation, the main goal is really just to get this to look somewhat even, because it usually doesn't. Some areas are brighter, some are darker, but I did manage to find this, I believe it's a tire brush that we just ended up not using. I'm using this to work in the solution as well as spread it around a little bit more evenly, and once this is set, we're going to go ahead and wipe everything down. Using the rough side of the microfiber towel, I'm just doing a casual pass over the insulation, and you can see just from that, we already have a ton of gunk coming off. This is where you can more specifically see how quickly we're going to be running through these microfiber towels, so it definitely helps to have a good collection. Just being able to cycle through them is a lot more of what we're going for. The underside of the hood that didn't look to be too bad actually produced two pretty gross looking microfiber towels, so definitely suggest cleaning this if you want to get that extra bit of attention to detail. Now, the easiest way to go about the engine bay is start sectioning it off, not physically doing anything, just visually thinking of one section being the left upper and the left lower, one in the center, upper and lower, and same with the right side, upper and lower. This way you have 6 sections so you can target one at a time and make the job a lot more manageable. Just spraying some cleaning solution on this area, you can see how clean and shiny these pieces can get. All we're trying to do is get them to look that clean while being 100% dry. For an area like this, you'll notice we have a lot of grooves and crevices, so we're starting off with the all-purpose cleaner and spraying it pretty liberally. From there, we're moving on to the steamer, letting it do its magic and dig into all that caked in dirt and grime, followed by digging into the crevices with this detail brush. We're using this brush to agitate the all-purpose cleaner. You're not going to notice too much foaming action here specifically just because there's not as much surface area, but on a flat space, you definitely will. This kit does come with 2 brushes, a green one and a black one. The green one is sturdier, so this is the one we're using to work in the cleaner. Once you're happy with the progress, go ahead and wipe it down. Getting water on an area like the fuse box isn't always the most comforting situation, trust me, I know, especially when you can see some wires down there specifically, but the reality of the situation is modern vehicles have a ton of plastics and covers to keep all the wiring and electrical components safe. They do construct these vehicles with these precautions in mind, so the same reason why nothing happens when you're driving in the rain or really bad elements, everything is secure under the hood. But that's also the really good thing about this method. You're not using any running water. It's just a spray bottle and a steamer, which are pretty forgiving. I'm switching the nozzle on the steamer to this one for better agitation because I'm moving on to these orange wires. Being that there's not much surface space and they are pretty malleable, getting them clean is going to be pretty difficult. So it is going to take a few passes, I'm sure. It's going to be a lot of back and forth between the steamer and the detail brush. But this is all part of the process, and being one of the few areas of color in the engine bay should look pretty good when it's all said and done. But that was only one pass. Probably going to need to do a handful more. Moving deeper into cleaning the hybrid aspects of the engine bay, I did do a ton of digging trying to find all the differences in how you actually approach this. What I found out, there's really not that much that's different. It's more so just don't overdo it, which makes a lot of sense, but using a steamer and a spray bottle makes the job a lot more feasible. In noting the orange wires, the connecting point has this massive black cover on it to really secure it in place and make sure water doesn't get in areas it doesn't need to. And with no power running through this vehicle, you're really just cleaning up the surface. But if at any point you feel like you've gone too far or you're not comfortable with what you've done, all you really need to do is let the vehicle sit for a little bit. That's the beauty of using this minimal amount of water. It'll dry up pretty quickly. So if you're looking for an ideal time to do it, I would suggest doing it at the end of the day more specifically because you can probably have the vehicle sitting for a few hours, so the engine bay is going to be cold. Plus, once you finish, you can call it a day, leave the hood open, let everything dry up overnight, and you'll be back on it tomorrow. For a little change of pace, you can be pretty liberal with the cleaning products here, just following the nice pattern of spraying, steaming, brushing, and wiping. Now, engine covers like this, I would definitely suggest putting a little bit more emphasis on, because whether it's clean or whether it's dirty, it's going to be the most notable aspect of the engine bay. There's also all these little ridges towards the upper right section of this engine cover, so using the steamer to really dig into those areas is going to make it to have the best possible finish. In my opinion, the best part about cleaning the engine cover is that there's a lot of surface space, and being plastic, it takes really well to the cleaning products. For being 10 years old, this engine bay is looking pretty good, and you can call it here, or you can take it a step further, coating some of the plastics here in the engine bay. One that I specifically suggest is this piece right here. It has some discoloration to it, and we've cleaned it left and right. I can run my hands all over it, and nothing is coming off. And when you take a step back and compare it to the engine cover, you can see it's pretty clearly discolored and faded, and that's when we can grab something like Meguiar's hyperdressing to bring it back to life. Now, just a little disclaimer, you really do not need to cake this stuff on as heavily as I'm caking it on here. I'm just a really big fan of this stuff, and I don't get to use it all too often, so when I do, I honestly go overboard. But just from this single wipe, you can see how quickly the hyperdressing restores this piece, bringing it back to this gorgeous like new finish. And the really cool thing is that hyperdressing has a ton of different uses, from the engine bay to interior panels, which is what put me on it, to exterior trim. You can see the breakdown here on the bottle, but definitely a product I would recommend to keep your car or truck looking brand new. All it really takes is one quick pass going over this to bring back the color. It now has a really nice shine, and if you do have the time, I would suggest going ahead and taking care of the other engine bay plastics with the hyperdressing. It's a product I really do like, and it does smell pretty good. For a little bit of perspective, this is what the engine bay started out like. Very much caked on dirt, really no shine to anything at all, to now having this gorgeous finish as well as a protective layer thanks to the hyperdressing. This is definitely the cleanest this engine bay has ever been, and you can do a job like this in about an hour, depending how in depth you want to go, of course. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one.